And it's strange for me to say that I'm recovering because I wanted to be a lawyer my entire life. Started when I was 6 years old, I saw the movie To Kill a Mockingbird. I wasn't the only one who saw that movie, right? And I was so affected by Atticus Finch that at 6 years old, I started dressing and parting my hair like Atticus Finch. I was a 6-year-old kid running around the ghetto in a drab gray three-piece suit and a 17-inch afro with a part in it. I looked a little bit like my buddy Richard over here, to tell the truth. Now, I was very excited about being a lawyer, and that excitement kind of dimmed a little bit when I got to law school. I had no problem with law school other than the fact that I thought some of the cases, just some of them, were slightly outdated. Think about it. We all went to law school at different times, but we all studied the same cases. And just about every one of those cases involved a railroad. You remember the case, right? Some poor fool is scooping coal into the engine of the train, the thing blows up, and everybody's sued for $35. Which was a lot of money 185 years ago, or whatever it was. But my theory is that maybe some things have changed. See, I don't know about you, but in my 10 years of practicing law, I didn't come across a lot of railroad issues. Remember, I think the case that had the course that had the oldest cases was, of course, property. And the theory is, well, since property goes back forever, the cases should go back forever. So remember the first case we all studied in property? It was Kane v. Abel, right? The cases were so old, we didn't even have numbers for the cases because they hadn't invented numbers yet. And we would study concepts that, while they made sense at their time, might not have been the most 20th century concepts. Let me give you an example. In law school, we all spent 6 weeks learning the rule against perpetuities, right? By show of hands, by the way, anybody still remember that rule? And that's nothing to be proud of. Put your hand down. Now, let me tell you why you learn this rule. You learn this rule on the off chance that some 80-year-old woman would come in pregnant. The fertile octogenarian, right? I don't know about you, but that woman didn't walk into my law firm every 2 weeks. Or you'd spend weeks learning rules like the rules of adverse possession. Now, I remind you of this rule because it's very simple. It means if I sneak on your property and I live there, say 30, 40 years, I own it. Now, that might have happened a long time ago where estates were larger, boundaries were unclear, but I live in a tract house. I guarantee you, if I get home to my house tomorrow and there's a family camped out in my backyard, it's not going to take me 40 years to call the police. And let me tell you a couple of things I've learned in traveling the country, speaking for and on behalf of this profession. I've come to a conclusion, some of you probably don't know this, but I've come to a conclusion, a lot of people don't like us. You sort of noticed that? And let me tell you, you know how you know that? It's because, not that there are lawyer jokes out there, but that people tell them to us. I want you to think about that in any other context. And let me explain this to you. To do so, I'm going to have to do one of these TMI things, too much information. I apologize right up front. I'm going to say something that obviously wasn't in my introduction. It's not in my bio or my press kit. I don't even really advertise this on my website. But just so you understand this, I have to tell you this very personal thing about me to make the story go. But please know this. I'm black. Don't tell anybody. I have to lower my speaking fees in Orange County, okay? Hear me out. But I say that because you're not going to believe this, but I don't hear a lot of black jokes. And I'm not naive enough to think they don't exist. I just know that none of you are going to tell what to be. Can't imagine any one of you going, hey, Sean, you're black, right? What do you call 10,000 black men at the bottom of the sea? You wouldn't even get the punchline out. But people have no problem telling these stories and jokes right to our faces. I was in a place getting my hair cut, Now, I'm not going to name the name of this place. It's a very large chain. You have them in your state. One of you might even represent them. So let me say, I'm not going to name this chain. Let's simply say if you go there, you might get a supercut. But no names. I'm in this place getting a supercut, and the stylist says to me, true story, "Oh, wow, you're a lawyer. That's so interesting." Because at one point I thought about being a lawyer. In the end, I realized I'm basically just too honest. I was like, wow, what a coincidence. Because at one point I thought about being a stylist. But I thought about it, in the end I realized I'm basically just too smart. Now, you clap, but you should know I didn't get a supercut that day. But we have to start standing up for ourselves. I had another situation. I was on the plane, and the weird part about this is I was on the plane, but I was sitting in first class. I thought that meant there was a better class of people. Apparently, I was wrong. This is what happened. I'm sitting there, and I take to the gentleman next to me and says, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Now, I have to confess, I do not identify that I'm a lawyer. I simply say, well, I tell jokes to lawyers. And he turns to me and goes, "Oh, I hate lawyers." "Okay, sir, well, what do you do for a living?" He said, "Well, I work with the handicapped." I said, "Oh, I hate the handicapped." No matter what your client happens to find in the Wendy's chili, you cannot sue. Now, some of you don't remember this. The case I'm talking about is a woman who comes to Wendy's and says she orders a Wendy's chili and she finds a thumb in the chili. My first supposition here is that if you order the Wendy's chili, that's assumption of the risk. They should put that in law school textbooks. As I see it, ordering the Wendy's chili is like dipping your ears in steak sauce and getting in the boxing ring with Mike Tyson. Something bad is going to happen to you. And the funny thing about this story is that the law enforcement didn't even know how to deal with it. See, the woman who said she found the thumb did not realize that if you, as Americans, although we're lax about a lot of things, we keep pretty good track of our thumbs. Right? By show of hands, who doesn't know approximately how many thumbs you have on you? So she didn't realize the police are going to want to know whose thumb this is. The police, obviously, they don't have a class about this in the academy, because true story, they line up all the workers on the wall and say, "Hold up your fingers." Supposition here is that Wendy's employees are so dedicated that despite losing a thumb, they will finish out the shift. Now, I'm having a pretty good time up here. I think I'm dedicated to my profession, but let me just tell you something. If my pinky drops off in the next 20 minutes or so, seminar is over. I'm not that dedicated. And on that note, I want to leave you. And I want to leave you really with one thought. Our time today has been too brief, but hopefully I've shared some things with you. And really, when you give a talk like this, you hope that the audience only takes one thing with them. If they take one thing with them, you're ahead in the game. Let me tell you the one thing I want you to take from this talk. The one thing I want you to leave this conference knowing, and that is simply this: I am available to do other events. No, some of you think I'm kidding. Some of you belong to large firms, you have retreats and holiday parties. Who am I kidding? I'm also available to do housewarmings and baby showers, bar mitzvahs. I'll pretty much do anything but a bris.